well, the National Chair of the Police Federation of England and Wales. John Apter joins me now. Good to see you, John. So it's not going to be shopkeepers who police this, but the police. Is that the right decision?
Well, that was certainly a concern last night when the news broke, because it was all about the police enforcing this unprecedented move, but not surprising. What we've heard from the Health Secretary today is a little bit more clarity, that which is what we completely support, in that shops need to play their part and they need to do all they can to ensure that the public do comply as best they can with this new law about face coverings. And in the exceptional circumstances, the police will be involved, which is what we were hoping for. But this is so new, and during this whole crisis, we've been policing in ways that we could never have imagined that we'd be policing. But the vast majority of the public have complied with the rules, and I'm hopeful that this will be the case with the face coverings in stores. But if not, ultimately, the police are there to enforce, but it's going to put a real challenge on an already overstretched policing service, and that's my real concern.
So do you think you are going to be called upon to, for example, go into the aisles of supermarkets if people are flouting the rules?
Yeah, I think that's always a risk. I mean, we look at what's happened overseas, where people, there's going to be two types of people who don't wear face coverings. One who genuinely forgets, and the other one who, just for their own reasons, just don't believe that this law applies to them. And they're the ones that we're going to probably get called to by the stores. But I would urge the stores, whether large or small, to make it really clear to customers that if you don't wear a face covering, then you're not coming in the store. It's a bit like if somebody walked into a shop and they were smoking a cigarette. Of course, the store staff would ask them to put it out, or they wouldn't let them in. We don't get called to those sort of calls all the time, accepting that this is new and it's different. But the public just have to do their best to look after each other. That's what this is about. It's a health crisis. It's not a policing issue. But we are continually getting dragged into things that I don't believe we should be. But ultimately, if the staff in the stores need our assistance, then they will get it. But it's going to create pressure on a police service which is already under immense pressure and strain.
Do you think stores should provide face masks for people? Because there may well be people who go out and, as you say, haven't got one. Perhaps they've left theirs at home, but really do need to go around the shop. Do you think that they should be being provided for free?
Yeah, and let's not forget, this is not face masks that people think like the clinical mask. This is face coverings, which, as we've seen with the transport network, that can be anything. That can be a scarf, as long as it covers the mouth and nose. But I've heard some owners of stores saying that they are going to make these face coverings available for those who forget, those customers who forget. So I do think, everybody needs to play their part. Look, I'm not saying that policing shouldn't be involved in this. Absolutely, of course. And we have been from the very beginning. And my colleagues, those dedicated police officers, have been doing their absolute best. But this is not just a policing issue. It's a wider society issue, and everybody has to play their part. And that includes the shopkeepers and the staff.
In terms of British Transport Police, how have they managed enforcing it on the underground services and on public transport? Have they been called to intervene a lot, or has it mainly just been, as you say, staff able to enforce it quite happily themselves?
Yeah, well, I was hearing the Mayor of London speaking earlier, and of all of the thousands of people who have been travelling when they can, then I think 59 tickets have been issued, which is a tiny number. So I think most of the time the enforcement officers who work for TfL, and the same will be with the train networks, and police officers have been trying to engage and explain with the public. As a very last resort, they will use enforcement. And that's what I would like to see within the stores and the shops that are opening. Because, look, people are adapting to new ways of living, and it's strange and it's different. And for some people, it's scary. And, the police must play their part, but we can't just be the ones who are relied on by everybody, because we will not be able to cope. If people expect us to be policing the shops, then I'm afraid they're going to be let down, because we don't have the resources as it is to deal with the demand that's being placed on us.
OK, John Apter from the Police Federation, thanks very much.